This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going back to the desert. We're going to be with our camels, taking them along with us to place where we control areas. But there's some new people in town, the Sultans. They're living in these big palaces. We're going to be going after these fabulous cities because today we're talking about 5 Tribes, the Whims of the Sultan. This is the latest expansion for 5 Tribes by Days of Wonder. So let's check it out. I'll show you what's in this new expansion and I'll see you on the other side. This is the main part of the expansion. There's 5 fabulous cities that come out. Notice 3 of them have blue, so they're good for the builders, and 2 of them are red. These are very important buildings, and you add these to whatever you're playing. If you're playing the base game, you add them all to that. You'll end up having a 6x6 grid versus a 5x6, so the board's a little bit bigger. And if you're playing with the Artisans and the Cathala, you go from a 6x6 grid to a 6x7, so the game's going to be even larger, whether you play with the base game or the Artisans and the Cathala expansion. Now, at the beginning of each round, each of these is going to get a card. And if you end up ending your movement on one of these tiles, you get to take the card. If you already can do it, you turn it in and get a certain amount of money, which essentially is points in the game. Or you can, if you don't have it, you keep it in your hand secretly from other players. This is if you have 2 of those resources. Hey, that card is done. This is you need 3 of the elders. This is if you control any of the 4 corner spots on the board. This is if you control 2 of these types of tiles. This is if you have 3, if you control 3 tiles in a row. There's a player aid in the game that tells you what all those cards do. These cards are essentially powerful, but they're trying to give you another focus within the game. Now, even if someone had claimed this and this was gone, at the beginning of each round, new ones are going to be coming out. And so you could still, even though someone controls this, you could end your turn on this and get another card. However, when you control this, it's very important because these are huge points at the end. You will get between 5 and 125 of these if you control 1 to all 5. So people are going to make sure that you're not controlling too many of them because it can be huge points. There's also a new tile called the Great Lake, and any adjacent tile, either diagonally or orthogonally in any direction, that has a palm tree or a palace on it is worth twice the amount of points. So the palm tree is now going to be worth 6, where a palace is going to be worth 10. This expansion also adds components for a 5th player. I actually love this color. It's almost like a dark natural wood, and a bunch of coins to also have enough coins in the game for 5 players. However, they didn't just give you components, they actually rethought out the bidding track. So now this also holds up to 5, and let's say this player goes here and bids 5. Well, now if the next player here wants to bid 5, they actually push this player up like that, similar to how the 0 spot used to work before. This player's like, oh, I want to bid 1. This player's like, well, I want to bid 1 too. And this player, let's just say they go to 0. Now when they come down, it's going to go here, then here, then here, then here, then here. So even bidding something larger might not be a sure bet that you're going to be first in that spot. There's also 2 new djinns added, and they have to do with this expansion. In this one, every time you push a player on that bidding track I just showed, you get a coin. Every time an opponent does it to you, you get 2 coins. Here are those Sultan cards. Every time you take one, you get a gold coin. Anytime somebody else takes one, you get 2 gold coins. And it comes with another huge stack of scoring sheets. This essentially is identical to the one that came with Artisans of the Cathala, except it adds another column for a 5th player. Alright, well there is the latest expansion. Now 5 Tribes, no secret, is one of my favorite games of all time. I absolutely love it. I got a chance to play this expansion back last November at BGG with Bruno. He kind of showed it to me in prototype form and I loved it then and I still love it now. The production obviously is great with Days of Wonder. So let's talk about the things I liked about it. I like that you could play this with or without the previous expansions. So even though it adds a decent amount of thinking and some new things, if you want to just add this to the base game without the first expansion, the Artisans and the Cathala, you can do it just fine. If you want to add it with the other one, that's fine too. I like that it's very modular in that way. I like that it added the larger board. So if you're playing with just the base game and this expansion, you're going from a 5x6 grid to a 6x6. So it's going to be bigger because there's new tiles and more things going on. If you're playing it with Artisans and the Cathala, which used to be a 6x6 grid, it's bringing it up to a 6x7 grid. So again, even bigger, more things going on, more things to think about. I like it. The new bidding process for 5 players is cool. Now, many times, most times I would say, I do not like when expansions add an extra player because almost always it takes too long or there's some other side effects where the game's not as enjoyable. With this, I still prefer it with 3 to 4, but I would never turn down a game with 5 now because the bidding, you have that extra bid track where it actually changes the way that things work. You bid 1, someone else could push you up 1. The game has scaled it to the 5 players. So I like that now I can play with 5 players. Even though I prefer 3 or 4, I wouldn't turn down a game with 5. The cities, this is the biggest thing. Those fabulous cities is the biggest part of this expansion, and it's very interesting where you're trying to battle over these for huge points. If you get all 5, you're getting 125 points. Are you kidding me? I've never seen it happen. I have seen someone get 3 though, which I don't remember. I think it's like 45 points or something like that. But it's cool that people are going to be fighting over those, not only for the control, but also going after them for specific cards. And that brings me to the next point, which is the Sultan cards, the abilities. They change your strategy and give you focus, because you might be focusing on something else. Well, maybe someone took your move, or maybe you just want to focus on something different. These Sultan cards do that for you. Hey, now I want to focus on the one in the corner, or now I want 3 in a row, or now I want 3 elder meeples, as I showed. So I like how it changes strategy, gives you focus, what a good expansion should do for you. And I like that they added 2 new djinns, one for the 5-player track and one for the Sultans. So anything I didn't like about it? Well, not really, but to be fair, let's try to find something. This isn't an expansion that I would recommend playing with a new player. If someone's never played 5 tribes, there's some expansions like Baseball Highlight 2045, for example. It's just more cards. You can explain the rules as they come up. And I have every expansion in there, even the first time I play the game, because you can do that. And it gives me variability, and it's not too complex for the new player. Some games lend itself to that. This is not one of them. So that's a negative. I wouldn't play this with someone who hasn't played 5 tribes before, because there's already enough going on. So if you play the 5 tribes with people that don't often play it, then you're probably going to leave this in the box. So that's the only negative. But when you do teach someone this stuff, it's awesome. Now, if you only had to pick one, if you had the base game, Artisans Cathala versus Whims and Sultan, I don't even know if I would be able to pick. I would have to flip a coin because they're both excellent, and not one is like, far above the other one. I think they're just both excellent expansions that work well together, or separate, or just for the base game. So either one's really good. You just watch my reviews of both and see which one you think has the more interesting thing for you. And that has been 5 Tribes, Whims of Sultan. This has been the Game Boy Geek, helping you find and enjoy the next board game you'll love.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.